Thou that sleepest, arise from the dead.
Read the Bible, you'll find out that God's not too happy with what's going on around us.
Redeem the time, because the days are evil.
The Bible has not changed.
Boldly proclaim the restoration and preservation of Christian values in America.
Satan has brainwashed a whole nation.
As goes the church, so goes the nation.
Nobody's convicted of anything anymore.
And now, here's Last Call with your host, B.J. Edwards.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, it's going to be short and sweet this morning. Why? Because you all got a lot of work to do. Yeah, I've been looking out there, and there's a lot to be done, and we ain't doing it. Did y'all have a nice COVID Christmas? Christmas ended in 2019, folks. Like I said, it's going to be short and sweet this morning. Kind of a motivational speech before the game. Have you ever wondered what happened to the 56 men who signed the Declaration of Independence? Committed men and women and families. Five of the signers were captured by the British as traitors and tortured before they died. 12 had their homes ransacked and burned. 2 lost their sons serving in the Revolutionary Army. Another had 2 sons captured. 9 of the 56 fought and died from wounds occurred during the Revolutionary War. They signed and they pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. And what are we doing today with that sacrifice? What kind of men and their families? Who were they? 24 were lawyers. Hey, Roger, you're okay. And jurists. 11 were merchants, 9 were farmers and large plantation owners, men of means, well-educated, but they signed a Declaration of Independence knowing good and full well they were signing their death warrant. Carter Braxton, Virginia, was a wealthy planter and trader, saw his ship swept from the seas by the British Navy. Carter sold his home and properties to pay his debts and died in rags. Sacrifice, folks, commitment, folks. Thomas McKean was so hounded by the British that he was forced to move his family almost constantly. He served in Congress without pay. Well, there's a novel thought. And his family was kept in hiding. His possessions were taken from him, and poverty was his legacy, his reward. Vandals and soldiers looted the properties of Dillery, Hall, Clymer, Hayward, Rutledge, and Middleton. At the Battle of Yorktown, Thomas Nelson Jr. noted that the British General Cornwallis had taken over his home and made it his headquarters. He quietly urged General George Washington to open fire. The home was destroyed, burned to the ground. And Nelson died bankrupt. Sacrifice. Francis Lewis has his home and properties destroyed. The enemy jailed his wife, and she died within a few months. John Hart was driven from his wife's bedside as she was dying. Driven from her bedside while she was dying. That's okay, BJ. With COVID, we can't see our dying anyway, right? For more than a year, he lived in forest sand caves, returning home to find his wife dead and his children gone, vanished. So take a few minutes while enjoying your holidays and silently thank these patriots. But that's what we've been doing, isn't it? Silently thanking? No, we've just been silently taking advantage of it. We need to do something. These gentlemen, families paid a heck of a price. The next time you put on a mask because you don't want to make someone feel uncomfortable or defend any of the other communist muzzles that are being put on you, your families, your neighbors, your liberties and your freedoms, Please be reminded of the founders who gave their all so that you could choose not to be a prisoner to your own public servants. This isn't about just putting a mask on, folks. This is about giving your all to the government, giving it away, not making them earn it, but giving it away. So let's look at 2021, and let's look at that as a year of opportunity. Did we have our last Christian Christmas in 2019, as I said earlier? I think we did. You think the mask has gone away? You think when you have a cold, you're going to be able to go to grandma's without a mask? This is now all about grandma, right? It's not about liberties and freedoms. We're sacrificing all that. We're giving all that away so we can have what we think is liberty and freedoms, but it's actually slavery. It's really up to you now. And that's what this spiel is about this morning. You see, the enemy is there more than ever. Many of you are headed to Washington, D.C. early next year to reach out to your public servants. Good for you. And when you come back, consider this. First of all, Joe Biden will be the president. The progressives, the communists, the leftists, the liberals will be in control of the federal government. Not your local government, but the federal government. Consider petitioning, pressuring, and taking back possession. Go run for office of we the people's rights. I heard someone say militia, maybe. Do it at the local level, at the zip code, if you will, because that, my dear friends, is where our power truly rests. There are even now others who are working towards these ends. Tactical Civics, Friends of Liberty United, and others. Find them, befriend them, and work with them. You're not going to change Washington, D.C., folks. That is not going to happen. You're not going to get the judges to rule in your favor. We live in an unjust society. We don't know the difference between right and wrong. It's been so blurred where wrong is right and right is wrong. The Washington experiment has failed, in my humble opinion, unless, of course, you're a communist. The opportunity rests at the grassroots. And folks, that means at your city and township levels. However, the family must be at least in restoration process. You can't do this without the family. And the family right now is broken. If you expect to win it all, if you expect to gain anything at all, you're going to have to fix the family either first or along with what you're doing. Because the family is the foundation of not just America, but all civilizations. As goes the family, so goes the world. So goes the nation. So goes the city. And so goes the church. What about the church, you say? Well, for the most part, the church is dead, folks. It's a vestigial organ. Useless. It's no longer, more or less, under Christ. It's more under government and no longer beholding to God. When you had services this Friday, did you socially distance? Wear a mask? Have services outside, or did you have services at all? Did you have permission to attend? One church here in our local area wants you to call them or email them so they can put you on the list to make sure that they can properly social distance. Dear God. For the most part, the church is dead. Or as a friend of mine says, they become humanist, Satanist, social clubs, celebration centers. Okay, ready, set, go. If you need any help, you know how to contact me, and I'll turn you over to those other individuals, organizations. naturalfamilystrong.com. Here's to a happy new year, and let's make it an American celebration, not a Chinese, Russian, communist, celebration. By the way, if not now, when? And if not you, who? The ball's in your court. And remember, there'll be a sacrifice, and you'll need to be committed as the enemy. You don't go into a ball game thinking you're going to lose. I'm going to leave you with this, an old favorite of BJ's. It's entitled, That's Not My Job. There's a story about 4 people named everybody, somebody, anybody, and nobody. There was an important job to be done, and everybody was sure that somebody would do it. Everybody was sure that somebody would do it. Anybody could have done it, but nobody did it. Somebody got angry about that because it was everybody's job. Everybody thought that anybody could do it, but nobody realized that everybody wouldn't do it. It ended up that everybody blamed somebody when nobody did what anybody could have. 2021, it starts now. We don't wait for the New Year's celebration. It starts now. COVID Christmas is over with. The game has started. And I hope we can count on you being in it. BJ Edwards, Last Call Radio. God bless all of you, and Godspeed.
Last Call with BJ Edwards. Real talk about real life.